Yes, we're live. Yes, sir. Just a minute. Teaser, how are we? Okay, let me go there. Run one stream. Don't go there. It will be bringing that. Just leave it. Let's see.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza bula kwibukisha Kanade pochimo Wimbo wa temenu wa katongi Awazunga wajita katongi Nagula kwibukisha kateka Kaibugu muna kapona Nenseko siove pamenso Yangwa umebaya Kiyaba maume Yangwa maume
Kateka wabantu Twakulila, lelo twakulila Shika kukonke milimo shove
mwendo shile eti kumemo kulondolola vale lilo mwingi
iseko mwingi mwakwete iseko mwingi mwakwete mwaya mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katushi muchi wakege wali bomba kale lomba mwatuja tuleli lake Mukandila chiba
upanga mwine oya mwine ide lalila lalila lalila
ya mama ala nacho mwabye mama
Wonderful day and welcome to today's broadcast. We again apologize for starting quite late, but it was something beyond our control. You know, when you are linking, I've got South Africa and Lusaka. I'm hosting two groups. I'm hosting in Lusaka Celestine Mukandila, a renowned Lusaka lawyer, and a young man, Brian. He runs a political party and is a leader of that political party. Then I've got someone from the Leadership Institute, Dr. Emmanuel, based in Durban. Today we are discussing the role of the youths in the 2026 elections. There have been just small glitches as we're trying to connect, but I think we are good and we are good to go. Today, the youths present the largest population in our country. 60% are below the age of 25. If you take it to the age of 40, because people that are below the age of 40 are called young people, 35 up to 40 are called young people. Our population goes in excess of over 82%. So you can imagine the largest number of our population are young men and women. There's now a discordant. The people that are in charge of the resources, in charge of companies, in charge of leadership, in charge of the country are old people who are actually a minority. So it begs the question, democracy is about the largest majority who rule and respect the minority. But in Africa, which is enjoying this, what we call a youth bulge, as old people literally in charge of all resources, whether they were public resources, whether they were leadership resources, whether they were heading companies, it's old people heading companies. And there's been an agitation by young people that can we have a pie to this? You can't continue telling us that we are future leaders. We are leaders today. Most young people are very educated, sometimes up to MBA, up to PhD. Most people are very qualified. They can run any institutions, but there are just no opportunities. Many young people would like to be businessmen, but where are the incentives and financial empowerment? When they want to apply for a company, they'll tell them, guys, you have no experience. Here, we want someone who has 5 years experience. So the solution has been, what do you do with young people? Because if you do not attend to the issues of young people, they become the biggest threat to national security. Because then politicians hire them for whatever they want. They can cause riots. Even they themselves, they can agitate because of their grievances. If young people are up to 80% in our country, that means they shoulder the burden of our country. So that means they're suffering most issues of load shedding, issues of unemployment, issues of diseases, issues of lack of opportunities. Whatever you say, that means young people are shouldering this huge burden that the country carries. So today we are saying, how can we overcome this? How can the young people be given an equitable opportunity to participate? So I'll be bringing in my guests for introduction, and then we go for just a brief break. Let me bring in Dr. Nkoma, and we see how even his volumes are. Dr. Emmanuel Nkoma, welcome. And how's Durban? Is it cold?
Well, Ambassador, at least God has remembered us this day. The weather is quite warm and nice. We are in spring. I think the weather is very good. It's very good, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. And how's your wife? Because you guys are a preacher couple, power couple. You are an apostle and she's a reverend. But you are coming in this role as because of the Leadership Institute that you had.
Yeah, no, my wife is doing quite well. Busy always. Yeah, busy always. Yeah.
I've got another team, Celestine Mukandila, a renowned Lusaka lawyer. He recently won that landmark judgment with, our dear brother Munia Zulu. And we've got Brian Malomo. Guys, just introduce yourself. How's Lusaka?
Well, Lusaka is, Your Excellency, thank you very much for hosting us. And I think Lusaka is okay. The temperatures are getting hot now. And of course, the political atmosphere is equally getting extremely hot. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Yes, Brian.
Yes, so like my colleague has said, Lusaka is fine. Maybe just to make it clear, the name is David Malomo. Some people choose to call me, because I say Malomo David, some people choose to call me MD, still others call me Uncle D. So,
so where did I get the name Brian?
Okay,
sorry, David. I get annoyed when people say Mwamba instead of Mwamba. So I understand. Thank you, MD. Thank you, David. Okay, so we go for a short break as we just check all our microphones and everything. And viewers, you'll be able to participate in this huge debate.
Lelo bwacha bakamba mu kyalo kyesu kya Zambia ekyaweka Njoy. Abantu bafa bakamba kule mu nfumbwe. More than 20 people balebe pati ni babiri. Bagamba. Fish to arufyanye. People have died. Mumino yabakapokola. The police killing people. Why? In the same government bagamba. Abductions have happened. Magamba, if you're not with them, it's either you're dead or you're in prison. This government, you're going to change, big man. Fish to Arfianya Makumika Moves. Fish to Arfianya. Why me? Missing. Achani Rubamwaicho and Dizona. Where is why me? HH, tell us with your government, where is why me? Give us why me. Justice for why me, big man. Watching mo HH. Wala tupwisha bega kutupwisha bagamba. Katwale kya kulanda big man. Why you think? Maana watata. Sabe tuwasevana. Bagamba. Wanesa tuwapweni. Mujala chetu. Ita Zambia. Twamona mwekwa. Bagamba. bamona mwempwa Nama objections bagamba Obu muteko twaleta Waduletela amazala mush No you can take Kola ipompa tudeka No you can take Apa nomba bane Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wakuvota bane Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wakufuatika Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wakufuatika fuatika Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wenyu tayakwa fwe Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Aikona man Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Itayakwa fwe Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Yakuyati kwenyu Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Mayona batata Mayona batata Bayuthi Tentwisuli amenso Tentwisuli amenso Batusendela nomba batwipaila na hope Yesu Endika chagwa lungu watubela tinani kwa tila plan B Nomba tuwadishiba plan B aba mmino ya kualesa Bantu banga abala fa muchalo chesu cha Zambia Nibanga abantu abala ababducted muchalo chesu cha Zambia Bambire kuli jeje banda Nibanga abantu abala ba prison Abena chitotela chilangwa Wote baba prison netunguru shina shimbi na shimbi Muri one government ya kwa ejeji Abantu na abafa mweleza Aikata nomba baikata na kuriyetika chakwa lungu watukwatile plan B Abakubo vya vyo mufulo big man Mufulo pa mufulo Vilabine matzendela yetika chakwa lungu Apa nomba bane Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wakuvota bane Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wakufuatika Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wakufuatika fuatika Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Wenyu tayakwa fwe Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Aikona man Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Itayakwa fwe Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo Yakuyati kwenyu Mufulo pa mufulo Mufulo pa mufulo HH does not mean well for Mother Zambia. Zambia to Asebana, this is not the Mother Zambia that we were left with by our ancestors, our forefathers who fought so hard to liberate us. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, Mama Julia Chikamoneka, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, they fought so hard to put this country on the map, to put this country where it is today. No man would destroy this country because we believe in unity. Bamayana batata bapunda to one Zambia, one nation, and we shall together we will change, and we are going to change.
Katwali mose petwale imwena mwatile fixing na firwa inonge wina Pamela mwatulangira panomba mwina busheni pesa fya pusanina Petro te chirire 20 Apani sate ile pepeka 40 Mitengo mwatula ile shalengele tu vote Ufapa turi kuma peto Pay the couple gigs Pay the couple gigs Njai pusha rusele shirwa mituka venda Mutauni mumwako kumuresho kwenda Randi bakanso bashtisha ne mandari mbichalo bari tujanja Mu parliament na moye muritira mama ya Upu babo yama Aba mipotele kumwabo takuwama Abalati bushe kukawama Honorable Mwainama Fuliti yenu isule nkokoko na menama Watula ile tirene china mapurichi Bushe tuchiri mukechi Apa wose tule kukila pamienu Peta mubwele fyoko mwayane fbana fienu Twarishi baba kapokola banenu Nomba bushene chalo chenu.
The biggest divide in our country is not left versus right. It's top versus bottom. Billionaires want us looking left and right at each other so that we're not looking up at them. The people at the top work so hard to keep us angry and divided because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. So their social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so that we don't notice that they're defunding our schools, gutting our healthcare, and cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It is the oldest strategy in the world. divide, and conquer. But we will not be conquered. We're underdogs in this fight. We're going up against those billionaire mega donors and their puppet politicians. We're going up against a rigged system. And we're going up against a lot of money. But I'm a former middle school teacher. I don't scare easily. And Texans don't scare easily. My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. He taught me that we follow a barefoot rabbi who gave 2 commandments: love God and love neighbor. Because there is no love of God without love of neighbor. Every single person bears the image of the sacred. Every single person is holy. Not just my neighbors who look like me, or pray like me, or vote like me. Those billionaires are trying to keep us from seeing all that we have in common. They're trying to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because once we do, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. 2,000 years ago, when the powerful few rigged the system, that barefoot rabbi walked into the seat of power and flipped over the tables of injustice. To those who love this state, to those who love this country, to those who love our neighbors, it's time to start flipping tables.
That's a young man. James Talarico is 36-year-old. He's buzzing. Is a senator in Texas. And people are already touting him as a possible presidential candidate. And he is moving crowds, and and the Democratic Party in America is a bit on his knees. So James has come up with very, very good vibes for young people, as you can see in that video. Dr. Nkoma, let's start with you before we go to Lusaka. We are discussing youth leadership and their participation in the 2026 elections. What are your views and reflections?
Yeah, well, Ambassador, to go straight into the point, I feel the time for the Zambian youths to realize that governance is not supposed to be left outside their jurisdiction has come. And at this particular time, Ambassador, allow me to give a few historical sightings or insights of our country, Zambia. When you look at the time that our forefathers were fighting for independence, when you look at the team that led Zambia to its independence, you will realize that it was full of young people. Why was it full of young people? It doesn't mean that Zambia did not have old people at that time. It had. But these young people, their minds had come together and they had realized that if they do not liberate themselves, no one will liberate the country for them. So that is the reason why you see in the first cabinet of President Kaunda, the oldest person was Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe. And at that time, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe was only 42 years of age, being the oldest. Today, I sit back here and I see young people looking at it and saying, for me to get there, I need to have this and that. And also, it is because, Ambassador, and allow me to speak from most of the research that I have done, it's because Many Africans, and I want to speak on behalf of Africa, many Africans have embraced politics than leadership. And I've said this, and let me retaliate my call, saying the increase of politician has made the vacuum of leadership even to grow wider. And even in our country, the people that most of them are saying, we want to take Zambia to the next level. We want to see Zambia prosper. We want to see Zambia get to another level. When you look at them, most of them are above the age of 60. Most of them are above the age of 55. Now, my question has always been, when I look at the 2063 agenda, the AU Agenda 2063, and you see a 63 years old man saying, I'm still a young man, I'm a youth. If you say 2063, will they even be there? So the issue of young Zambians to get involved, the time is now. I would love to give just a little bit of a background again. Let me share this, Ambassador, which many Zambians do not know. I was a young man and a young, vibrant young man who got involved into issues of governance early. And in 2001, that time there was a third term issue. Christon Tembo that time decided to form the FDD. He gathered us and we gathered the youths. I remember where there is downtown there, we were tear gassed and displaced because we were standing on saying no third term at that time. It was the youths who stood up. I went around the universities and all that. Another thing that I want to just echo, which many Zambians do not know, in the year 2004, 2005, there was a Mwamba Constitutional Review Commission, which was sanctioned by President Mwanawasa. When the Mwamba Review Commission released the draft constitution, many old people did not read that draft. I just came back from South Africa, arrived in the country, I pounced on that document, and when I read it, I quickly raised the whistle. I remember going to meet the owner of Movie TV that time, Mr. Nyirenda, Steve Nyirenda. And I said, can you give me time to speak about this? They gave me time to speak about it at Movie TV. That time it was at Go Center. When I spoke about it, everybody began to open their eyes. Do you know, Ambassador, that for a first time, that people had realized that, for example, the preamble had been changed. I raised that matter and we went round. If you recall, that time when they wanted to remove the Christian Nation Declaration of Zambia, there was no bishop that stood up. I went round opening their eyes, door to door, meeting a number of people, CCZ, Evangelical Fellowship. Others argued with me. President Mwanawasa called me, and I was at State House, and he asked me, sitting, Honorable Kaunda Lemba was next there, sitting there, asked me a question and said, who has sent you? And I said to them, we the young people. Do you know, Ambassador, within 3 weeks, we gathered in Woodland Stadium. We marched and the whole country stood up. But they never knew the movement which was pushing was done by the young people. Lastly, today in Nepal, when you look at Nepal, the youths of Nepal, something that started as a Gen Z movement, has taken over Parliament of Nepal. And I have said to the Zambian youths, and I want to call the Zambian youths, that every year of an election, Zambian young people, this time you are the only ones who has to be insulting people. The thing that young people do not realize is that governance requires us to team up together and say, how do we take Zambia to the next level? Because the young people must realize this is their own country. There will never be another country. So young people should not be used just to gather crowds, and young people should not be used just to be stone throwing, insulting, and all that. We want to see the brains of the young people. We want to see them being there. Look at Ibrahim Traore. Captain Ibrahim Traore is a young man, and he is changing his country. So my request and my humble appeal to the young people, do not allow politicians bamibonfye. Do not allow politicians balemireka muletukafya abantu. Begin to think, because imwenga mwatuka abantu bakamikaka balia abashere, they remain governing and eating because you can't afford a lawyer. You can't afford somebody to stand by you. And that is why the youths must feel comfortable and say, Vala Irwila, and they will make sure that they are part of governance.
Wonderful. Let me bring in Celestine. Celestine, you are currently chair of the youth in Tonse Alliance, a grand alliance of many political parties, and they've given you that role. You are a leader. Also, you are a young man. What are your thoughts about leadership and participation of young people in the 2026 elections? Like, you have David there as a political party and is coming in full throttle. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador, and thank you very much to the viewers. For me, I think it's that time when the youth in this nation rose to the occasion and realized that I think it's that time when we took up the mantle of leadership in this country. And of course, I meant to believe and appreciate the wisdom of Dr. Edgar Lungu, having bestowed me with the responsibility of taking care of the youth movement in the Alliance and just the affairs of the youth. I meant to appreciate his wisdom because he reached a point of realizing that we've reached that time that the youth, because of innovation and everything else that is happening globally, the youth have gotten to a point of getting ready to take up real leadership roles in the country, especially the fact that when you look at the demographics in terms of the population of the youths compared to the population of elderly people, you'll realize that Zambia is a young population. Majority of the citizens are those below the age of 35. And simply put, 70%, so to say, are those above the age of the majority, which is above 18, but below 35. So you find that the youth hold platform or portfolio when it comes to even the electoral college of the country. So simply put, ours is simple, to ensure that we push in our colleagues and remind them that we can only achieve what we intend to achieve if we stick together as young people. And secondly, we need to be reminded of what our ancestors and our forefathers, where we are, we should be good students of history. We must be reminded of the good fight that were fought by the likes of Kaunda back then, and those colleagues that fought for our independence were equally young people who believed that one day they will see a Zambia that will be economically free, politically independent, as well as just one that will be able to embrace a young mind and be able to live up to the aspirations of it was then. So for me, I think we've reached that time, actually. We've reached that time when the young people should rise to the occasion and call the shots. Where the young person
did we lose Lusaka? As I'm waiting for Lusaka. Okay.
tables,
Okay.
but I think we've reached that time when we should be able to have young people sitting at the table. Because with innovation, with the advent of technology, and just the way the world has evolved, we've reached a point where there's so much knowledge, especially vested in the young people, that this knowledge must be able to be shared amongst everyone else in the country. So I think we've reached that point. And my thought really is that there's enough time for the older generation, I think, to realize that it's for them to just pass on the baton. We appreciate the contributions they've put into this country. We appreciate the wisdom at the table, but there comes a time when we must be able to look at times and live within the times of today. For example, we must get to a point where we try and sanitize even how politics is done. It's, for me, I feel it's been enough of having politicians who would not really be reminded of the patriotic nature that we need to move with. Imagine the kind of country we would have today if the old politicians we have today were as patriotic as those that lived in the times of Kaunda, as those that lived in 1964, the ones who fought for independence, the young, vibrant cabinet that we had in 1964. If we had that energy today, I think we would have gotten to a point where this country is evolving. The level of patriotism required more should be one that every person should know to say it should be country first. And I think that's the direction even the dynamics of Africa is taking us to, where we are reminded now that we had Pan-Africanists like the likes of Julius Nyerere, the likes of Thomas Sankara. Now we've got a serious revolution in the Sahel region, where we have the likes of Ibrahim Traore, young man, age-mate to some of us, but doing great things, all because he realized that we can only achieve if we remain patriotic. We must try and move away from the concepts of thinking it should only come because you are given a bit of some money here and there. We must be reminded that we must get to a point of owning resources that we have in this country, and just the fact that we must also get to a point of just remembering that Zambia should be bigger than everyone. We should be able to be reminded that service should come first.
Yeah. Let me come to our dear brother David Malomo. David, you are a Zambian youth political figure. You recently announced that you'll be going in for the 2026 election. You are the founder and president of the Passionate Allegiance to Save and Save Party, PASS. What motivated you to form a political party, and why do you wish to go for the top job? Many people would say, why don't you start as a councillor? Why don't you start as an MP? What are your thoughts?
All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador, and thank you so much, viewers, listeners. For me, like my colleagues have already, alluded to, the time is exactly youth o'clock. I think the world now is understanding that a young, visionary, leader is good for everyone. We know that the best performing, president in the world, Nayib Bukele from El Salvador, was elected at the age of 36. We have Daniel from Chile was also elected at the age of 36. In Ecuador, Daniel Noboa was elected at the age of 35. And I think recently we saw the circumstances revolving around the election of Faye, Diomaye Faye from Senegal. Young people at the moment have realized to say this is our time. We understand at this particular point that no one is going to give us the education that we need to overthrow them. We need to actually step up, rise up, step up, dust ourselves off, and begin this epic journey of liberalization, from economic slavery imposed by us, actually by people who had actually the historical responsibility to free us. So what prompted the Political Party, PAS, by the way, PAS was formed in 2021. We got registered in 2021, and since that time we've been assembling an arsenal, to actually work. We realized that Zambia is huge. The country as huge as Zambia is not a solo act. It's a huge collaboration, so we need to sit on tables, discuss, sharpen the vision, the agenda, and all that. But what really prompted the formation of the political party is that we saw a gap. We saw that there was something that was missing in the political. That thing is called an agenda. Most political parties, we're just existing because there's need to exist. Direction really was not, clear. So we needed to bring in, that agenda. Just like there was an agenda in 1964, as well as in 1991. In 1964, there was an agenda of liberalization, clearly defined. People are not voting for Kaunda because he's got money, because he's got cars, or he's got anything. No, they're voting for him because of what he brings on the table. Liberalization. This is something that resonates with everyone in the country, whether in a Kazungula, Kaputa, Eastern Province, and Mongo. This is that you need to be part of, because it's independence. People don't even care if Kaunda has got a vision in as far as agriculture is concerned, transport and all that. What they care for is the broad way from which all these other things would branch from. That is liberalization. When we're in, then we'll know what we need to do in as far as education is concerned. So there should be that broad way, something that lasts longer than just, the period of that, the person, will serve. Liberalization, independence, we're still enjoying independence even when, President Kaunda is long gone. So that is what a national agenda is. 1991, again, we see another agenda by President Chiluba. So again, in 1991, people are not voting for Chiluba because maybe he's any other thing. Maybe he looks presidential, maybe he's got all it takes and all that. All these things he doesn't have. They're voting for him because of what he brings on the table, which is multipartism. So again, you feel the people actually that supported President Chiluba, we are coming from the UNEP. Why? Because this is a national agenda. It's something that resonates with everyone. Multipartism, people feel we need to have political parties so that we can debate on ideas, those that have based image. So basically, that is how he actually won the election. It was because of an agenda that he brought on the table. So it has been very difficult to actually figure out a clearly defined agenda since that time, 1991. And so PAS comes in with this agenda that we need an agenda, something that every Zambian will actually have to, identify themselves with. And what is that agenda? Is a new system of running affairs in the country. We feel that is touch. It's not necessarily, the change of human beings that needs, to be changed. For example, this one comes to say, me, I'm an doubt still. There's no guarantee. My head is shaped this way, so I'll not steal. So we need something that is a big thing, something that is going to last, longer than 5 years or 10 years. So we feel at the moment is a system we need to bring affairs in the country. That is our agenda as a political party. We are looking at the system. We look at what has been the system that we've been using in as far as, for example, land is concerned since 1964, 91. What has been the system that we've been using? What has been the political system that we've been using? Has it been helping the people of Zambia? So we realize that mostly the problem is a system. The system systems are not helping the people of Zambia. The system is actually exploiting the already suffering majority citizens. So what we need is a system that is dedicated to the people of Zambia, a system to extend opportunity to every willing heart. That is what we are looking at. So we had to define Zambia, because that is the most important thing again. Definition is important. We are not in Kenya, we are not in America, we are in Zambia. So Zambia is what matters. So we need to define the parameters, everything that makes Zambia, which is land, the agriculture sector, the mining sector, and all that. So we put up 12 points that explains what we bring on the table in as far as this new system is concerned. So as we move on, I just pray that we're going to have a lot of interactions on this, bigger forum, so that at least we'll be able to explain these in detail. But we have 12 points that explains what this new system that we're bringing on board is all about. So basically that is what PASS is all about, and we feel since we bring in an agenda, it is very important that we actually go for the highest office. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Yeah, let me pass the microphone and camera to Mr. Mukandila. What should young people do? I have seen, for example, your dear brother Binwa Mpundu has formed Iche. Other young people are agitating that they should be given way. How should young people go about this relay, like you said, passing of the baton? Do we have a leadership crisis? UPND will tell you that President Hakainde Hichilema'S a Minister of Youth and Sport, and he has young people serving there, and he has a youth policy. What are the inadequacies that young people find? In fact, I should help you. There was a recent survey, done, the barometer survey done by the University of Zambia and another entity that demonstrated that over, I think, is it 64% of young people are dissatisfied with the current status, either government or the current system, the way things are run. Young people are very frustrated with the process. Just speak to that.
Yeah, so I think the issue of having young people in the limelight when it comes to leadership of this country is actually an issue to do with an intent by the leadership. Because you see, I'll give an example of what is obtaining in the country, where President Hakainde, for example, would come and tell the Zambian young people to say, we need to amend the constitution because we want young people to have positions of authority, we want to give more opportunities to young people. But when you look at the Constitution of the Republic, you will actually be able to realize that this constitution that he wants to amend actually provides for a specific provision that deals with giving an opportunity to young people and women. So it's just political will and just having a responsible leadership. So I think we've reached that point when maybe we must hasten to remind those that are leading us, those older men that are leading us today, that we are ready. There is need for the young people to get into the advocacy for leadership of this country. And I think it can only be done if we offer ourselves more. I think it's no longer relevant for us to just sit back and wait for the time when we'll be told that you are still young, your time will come, you are future leaders. I think it should be today. We should be able to offer ourselves. This constitution, for example, has provided a provision that says young persons, young people should be given an opportunity, and women should equally be given an opportunity. There's already a law in place. Do you need to amend the constitution in order to give these young people an opportunity to be in leadership? The answer is a definite no, because we already have a provision in the constitution. Why then do we not have young people in positions of leadership? It is simply because of selfishness by those that are leading us. There's been deceit that has been used for them to get into or to elevate into positions of power or authority. How? Because they lied to the young people that will be able to give them opportunities. So because of what has transpired, you'll be able to see that those of us that had an opportunity to have conversations, for example, with Dr. Edgar Lungu, who reminded us that we need to get to a point where we wake up and be reminded that the Kaundas of yesteryears actually started advocacy at a very tender age. We need to be reminded that Zambia is endowed with so many mineral resources, and because of that, as young people, young persons, we already have the energies, which is a plus. We should be able to put ourselves there and ensure that we push the agenda where a young person will be able to contribute positively to the welfare or the affairs of the nation. Remember, where we've been privileged to even go to school, we've got an education, we've understood governance, and we are able to interpret a lot of provisions of the law. So at this level, I believe that a young person should be able to not have the fear and decide to get into the political sphere. Why do I say so? Because we've reached a point where fear has apparently replaced freedom. So if we as young persons will decide to wield to the oppressive arm of, for example, of the ruling elite today, then it means young persons will never come in, because most of them would be restrained, for example, by resources here and there. But I believe it should be a cause should start from your heart. You need to know that what we want to achieve is a leadership that will be able to contribute positively to the nation. I'll give an example. We had a scenario just in this nation recently where this government decided to come out there and preach to the Zambian people that we need to amend this constitution because the young people or the Zambians have agreed to amend the constitution. Or perhaps because we need to give young people an opportunity here and there. But government decided on its own without any consultation from people. So we came out and told the Zambian government to say, colleagues, you have not consulted us. You have not consulted my grandfather in Matanda. You have not consulted my grandmother, Kwa Mununga. So why are you telling us that we have agreed to amend this constitution? I think perhaps we need to listen that from voices of reason, which are telling you that you need to conduct what they called wide consultation. That we had to even take up a matter before the Constitutional Court to force this government to listen to a voice of a young person. Because for me, I got onto the platform, I told this government that colleagues, we are using a wrong method. But because I'm a young person, they looked at me and just said, it's just making noise. But alas, you know, the courts vindicated us that we had voices of reason and we knew what we were talking about. I think that should be a wake-up call, especially to the ruling elite now. They must be able to know that it is time that we come in and offer the much-needed advice as to how we must manage our resources. Imagine once upon a time, Ambassador, the moment we had the load shedding issues and it was rampant, I had proposed that, you see, we have a resource called the Social Security resource, which is NAPSA. The same way that this government decided that Zambia should have that 20% is the same way we can actually use this resource to be able to have a withdrawal that will allow citizens who contribute or contributors of these pensions to have schemes that will allow them to have solar systems. So you are making a withdrawal and not a withdrawal made of cash, but a withdrawal of a solar system. That way will be able to have almost every household, especially that a lot of people are contributors to this fund, will be able to have solar systems, electricity provided, and in that vein will be able to reduce the usage of electricity from the mainframe. This was a great idea, but what happened up to date? Brilliant idea, but because it's a young man that brought the idea on the table, they couldn't decide to implement it. So we've gotten to a point where we must start forcing the leadership. For example, using the courts. We've got legal means to force them. But I think this should be a beginning of a revolution where young persons have realized. You've seen my brother Binwa Mpundu coming out with a movement where young persons are actually speaking. They are speaking out. You'll be amazed to see how much traction that movement is getting. But all that is because there is hunger by the young persons to get into the political sphere. There is so much hunger for them to participate positively to the welfare of the country. So I think we've reached that point where it is only by the time bomb. The young people have got so much energy to get into this space. So it's a high time that the young people should be embraced. You don't embrace the young persons right now at your own peril, because the energies that we have is so much that it will be able to shake mountains. Today, Ambassador, we had a press conference that dealt with an issue of the abrogations that were occasioned by this president.
You are calling for the impeachment of the president. Why are you calling for the impeachment of President Hakainde Hichilema?
Exactly. So, we got a judgment in June of this year from the Constitutional Court. Myself and my good comrade Munir Zulu, Honorable Munir Zulu, took the matter to the Constitutional Court to try and stop Bill 7, because the process used by this government to come up with that bill did not live up to the spirit of the Constitution, because they did not consult any one of us. Ambassador, you were not consulted, but they came up with a bill anyway. So we decided to take up the matter to court, and the court reasoned with us, and they agreed with our view that this government decided to come up with a constitutional amendment process that did not live up to the spirit of the Constitution, and therefore the bill itself was unconstitutional. It abrogated over 10 provisions of the Constitution. That is the reasoning of the Constitutional Court. And it went on further to say the only way we can amend the Constitution is by instituting a committee of experts which will go out there, get views from the Zambian people, and from those views you will come up with a consensus. Then it will be called wider consultation. So because of that, when we got the judgment, immediately we had a press conference where we called for the resignation of this president because he breached the Constitution. So we called for his resignation on moral grounds. But we saw that, as usual, this is a president who doesn't want to listen to a voice of reason. He decided to ignore. So now we are calling for his impeachment. Now, we've done the research for the members of parliament. We've done the notice of motion for the members of parliament, properly researched. We've done it so good or so properly that it's based on law, it's based on reason, and it's based on facts. We are only hoping that the members of parliament will take up the challenge and submit this notice of motion before the floor of the House. We have challenged them today, the members of parliament that is. We've challenged them that whoever will not sign or support this notice of motion to impeach President Hakainde will have betrayed the trust of the Zambian people, bestowed on them. They will have betrayed Zambia's democracy. They will have betrayed the Constitution upon which they sought in to protect and defend. Now, we told the Zambian people today that is not a political move. It must never be understood as a political move. this is a patriotic move, because we cannot have a person occupying the highest office in the land abrogating the constitution at will. That is a noble office which requires high levels of integrity. It requires serious consultation. It requires that even individuals occupying that office should be so serious that any provision or any move they make should be within the confines of the Constitution, because that is where their constituent authority comes from. So we told the Zambian people to say, this is what we want to do, and we request and pray that our members of parliament will live up to the oath of office that they undertook as provided for under Chapter 5 of the Official Oaths Act. So members of parliament swear in to defend and protect the Constitution. The same way this president swore in to protect and defend the Constitution. The same way some of us who are privileged to be counsel, we equally swore in to protect and defend the Constitution. But there is a bigger call by everyone, Ambassador, including yourself and everyone that is watching, that is provided for under Article 2 of the Constitution, which provides for the protection of the Constitution. It says that we all have a duty to protect and defend the Constitution. It also goes on to say, because of that duty we need to have the need to stop anyone who's going to abrogate the Constitution, anyone who's going to suspend the Constitution, anyone who's going to violate the Constitution. So we've got an inherent duty according to the Constitution. So in the spirit of exercising our inherent duty, we have called on the impeachment of President Hakainde, because it's clear the courts have already told us he breached the Constitution and he must go. We can't have a constitutional delinquent in the office of president. So this is where we are.
Indeed, a constitutional delinquent in State House. Let me bring in Dr. Nkoma. Dr. Nkoma, you watch, as you know, as a leadership institute, you watch leadership trends across Africa, and currently, Ibrahim Traore, the military leader of Burkina Faso, is trending. Young people have admired the way he's dealt with certain issues. For example, chasing, the military from France that have been in his country for decades, making decisions about natural resources that they should belong to the people of Burkina Faso. The way, just in the last 2.5 years and things he's achieved, he's a military leader. We may not agree with the methods and means in which he came in, but young people across Africa, if you watch TikTok, you watch YouTube, they really admire Ibrahim Traore and the leadership he brings, the freshness. He's young, he's 37, but it's not about his age. It's about what his leadership is delivering. You have the youngest president, democratically elected president in Africa, Bassirou Diomaye Faye of Senegal. Remember the 10-day president, because they released him from prison and within 10 days he had become president of Senegal. He's also admired for the way he's conducting himself and the leadership style and the engagement. First he chased France from France and told them to close their barracks, and he's trying to reclaim again issues of natural resources. And now he's re-engaging France at that level where now they are partners, not, colonial and colonized relationship. Young people have a problem. Sometimes they just want to lead because they are young. But you have people like Ibrahim Traore that deliver. You have Kaunda, who became president at 40. You didn't look at him as a young person. You looked at him as a leader. Where do young people don't get it wrong or don't get it right? The challenges that are standing in the way for them to participate is either as MPs or even as presidents.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ambassador, for that. I was going, as I was listening to David, there were a few things that were coming into my mind just to echo on that. One of the major challenges that young people have is the word I would use called zeal, the fire within. They must be an understanding of what is governance. They must be an understanding of what are the challenges their country, what are the real issues in their country, that must be looked at. I would give an example. Today, we've got many Zambians, like you have said, young Zambians who aspiring to be president, to be a member of parliament, to be councillor. I am up for that. And I say, yes, go for it. But something must be understood. Leadership, specifically politics,
Have we lost Dr. Nkoma? Where is Dr. Nkoma? Let me look for him.
As the sunlight breaks through the grief that blankets our nation, I bow my head in solemn reflection, not only as a former cabinet minister, but as one who walked, served, and leant under the steady and humble leadership of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. His passing is not just the loss of a former head of state. It is the silence of a heart that beat for the people. A heart that, though often misunderstood, remained anchored in service, compassion, and peace. President Lungu not only led with a loud declaration, but with quiet resolve. At a time when politics around the world grew bitter and divisive, he stood firm, not in arrogance, but in grace. He taught us that leadership is not about the spotlight, but about bearing the weight of a nation with dignity and restraint. He bore that weight for you, for me, for Zambia. I was privileged to serve under his administration. I watched firsthand his deep concern for the ordinary Zambian, the farmer in the field, the youth seeking opportunity, the mother building a home, marketeers, and all that needed his hand. He never merely chased leadership, but leadership chose him, as can be testified at his first election in 2015. An anointed son of the soil to bear burdens of the people. He did not fight for himself, he fought for Zambia. And now on this day, we do not mourn as a people without hope. We remember that a life poured out in service is never lost. It is planted. And from it grows courage, unity, and a renewed call for us all to live lives that matter. To the family, I offer my prayers. To the nation, I pray for unity, love, and peace to honor his legacy. Let us honor him, not just with words, but with action. Let us be leaders in our homes, in our communities, in our hearts.
Thank you. As we're waiting for that connection from Dr. Nkoma from Durban, we open the phone lines. I've got a powerful guest list here. I've got Dr. Emmanuel Nkoma, who's in Durban. He leads a leadership institute. Him and his wife own a church in Durban. There is Zambian nationals that have lived in South Africa for many, many years, and they've settled in South Africa. I've got Celestine Mukandila, a lawyer, is an aspirant for Matero constituency, and is currently the chairperson of Tonse Alliance, the youth wing. I've got a good young man who owns a political party called PAS, David Malomo, and David is here also to share his insights. Make your phone call, participate in the program, and what questions do you have? I was asking Dr. Nkoma that when Dr. Kaunda was elected at the age of 40 and was leading this team of young people, many didn't look at him as a young person. They just saw a leader in them. What can young people do to demonstrate leadership? Because people will not do you favors. People want to see leadership, and they want to see leadership in you. When you looked at Barack Obama, you knew he was young, but you also knew that he presented himself as a leader. What can young people learn from all these trends? I just showed you a video of this young man who's buzzing here in the United States, and they're saying he could be the next president. James Talarico is a senator. And I've got a first caller here. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. I've got this powerful guest.
Good evening. I'm calling you from Antarctica, as usual.
Good evening. Please tell us where you are calling us from. Sorry, you were muted.
I'm calling you from Antarctica.
Oh, wonderful. Our caller from Antarctica, yes.
Yes, I have, let me call it a concern, and it's directed at Mr. Mukandila Celestine. I think for me, with the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, I've become a little bit more afraid. And I look at it like maybe as we go towards the next presidential elections, we need a little bit of assurance. We need somebody with a track record, somebody with experience, and somebody we can trust. And for me, it's very difficult right now, even though we want to like, as the youth, to be the people of the moment and take over the country. And, because the youths are the future, the young people are the future. So they need to shape it themselves. But I'm a little bit afraid trusting that office now to somebody who has never worked in the government before, or somebody who has no track record, somebody we cannot trace, somebody we don't understand from nowhere just because they can speak well, they can promise well. We always feel like these are the people, but right now those things are beginning to sound like it's something we have seen before. So I want to ask him, what's the assurance that the young people or the nation of Zambia can look up to and say, this is the movement that we're waiting for, or these are the young people that we feel should go in office? Because for me, we need that assurance. Otherwise, you might be just as young as I am, but I'm now afraid because I don't want to vote for somebody who will loot minerals, who get on the position and become excited, who forget all his promises and go the other way and embrace foreigners. So I'm a little bit afraid to go with the young people now because of this leadership style that we have seen. And that's why I'm looking for somebody who's been there before, somebody who can teach us as the young people and leave us the nation together so that we learn from them. And as we take over, we will not destroy it, rather continue building on that platform. So I want him to elaborate on that. What assurance does he bring, and what do they have that people can look up to and say, okay, we can trust these people?
Thank you very much. From Antarctica. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mwamba. This is Mukandila.
Mukandila.
Okay, Mwamba, first hapa nalai shoko wachita kufecha genji kwanza mayoti singa tuwaroresha sana. Fwebene ba youth twalifu mwishira. Because kutana pera my examples. Chirugaro aishire yuwa as a president of ZCFU.
ZCTU.
Yes, Palilian Stachuruba with between 36 and 8. So, again, in an assessment of Monawasa, or Aishire was a Resta General concerning a lawyer, Ali below 40 years. So, Ngatua Konkasana Historia Zambia, leadership, Yalendera Muri by youth. Number of forever youth to Alisa Ilufia because to Alisa to jump into capitalism instead of Nango Trimuramwe Mupati. I am a youth in MMT. I have to deliver leadership under youthship. Numbanga Chakweva Tinshin start deliver leadership under youthship. Then Valiava Kurova Tangileko. Nango Valorisha Kunu Mavalorisha youth Pakwete. Tamuli leadership. Even in Mwamba, Ngoro Mwamba to participate leadership. You were very young. Number 4 in Pakachapa youth. So this is not a new movement. 4 in youth to Alif Munshira. So this is the time of Kuwera Munshira. To Alista contribute to Kweba Ticharo Chirubani because before to Ali Wutkench to us. To our capitalism. Whatever Karamba Tangali, our Tangireko. Teach what to only. Gachakweva not quite leadership qualities, no matter affiliation of political party. Even if you are in UKND, if you have got a very strong leadership as a youth, you can stand against Hakainde. You can even destroy Hakainde. Now we decided ourselves, our choice, to become cadres. So we are the one to blame. Otherwise, the people who were before us, they were just right. They have shown us the leadership system. So I'm very much thankful because now we have come back in two senses. And to create a political party, it's not the only movement which you can help the countries. There are many movements which you can use to save the country. Thank you.
Let me throw this question to my team in Lusaka. The callers have raised the issue. Can you be trusted as young people? They remind me of what Mr. Sata would say, where he says, young people are cowards, young people don't want to step up, they want us to do the fights, then they come and get the spoils. Is that the position of young people? And the caller is saying, also some experience, even if you are young, is useful. What should we say? The caller from Antarctica says, after seeing the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, well, I don't know if I know President Hichilema, he may not be young, but because he was voted in by young people, so I think he's yoked to the issues of young people. So she's expressed disappointment that a man who spoke very well, promised to deliver so much, and has done very little or nothing. Why should they trust the leadership of young people? Let's start with Celestine.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Thank you very much to the caller. I think the call for young people to come into leadership must first be understood that we have realized that it's time that the baton should be passed on to the young people. Now, upon realizing that, you should also understand that we have come on the table and we must be able to show commitment first. Commitment, and not only commitment, but also integrity and accountability. If we are going to show a certain level of integrity, you must be able to understand first that where is this young person coming from? For example, I'll give an example of, well, I like to give examples of myself. I'm the only political party that I've ever belonged to, for example, is the Patriotic Front. Now, how then does that speak to the integrity that I may have? It speaks to the fact that there's been loyalty, integrity, and faith, understanding of the nature of the political party that I have belonged to. Now, you'll also realize that the young people are coming on the table to offer themselves to show that not only do they want to prove integrity, but they also want to prove that they've got an understanding of national affairs. Now, in the aspect of understanding national affairs, you should be able to have a serious historical background or understanding of where we are coming from. That is why I've indicated that from inception, from 1964, historically we had young people who fought for this independence. In 1991, young people fought for multipartyism. And now I can assure you that there's a serious revolution commencing where the young people are now fighting for the defense and protection of institutions of government, the defense and protection of the Constitution of the Republic. So that is what we are offering. We are offering ourselves that we are ready to protect institutions of government. Now, when you are going to say you are going to protect institutions of government, it comes with it, remember, it comes with it the temptation that would be lured or presented to you by the powers that be. You know, they in this era they one with the carrot of money. But I think for us, we have transcended from that. We now know what we want for the country. We realize that we've got resources that we've not benefited from. In fact, imagine, I'll just give an example. Imagine the amount of resources we have, the amount of gold that we have today. This country, we started a process in 2020 to 2021 where we started galvanizing our gold reserves using Zambia gold. But imagine this government comes into power, decides to immediately shut down that process. Why? We don't understand why. But all that is because of political expediency. But we understand that if we had continued, galvanizing our gold resource, we would have had a currency, for example, that is purely backed up by our gold. Our debt would have been backed up by the gold reserves that we have. Now, we are a country that brags to be the highest, the world's largest exporter of emeralds, for example. And yet we've got nothing to brag to show that we some of emeralds in our reserves. Purely nothing. But why should we get to that point? Now, the young people of today have come to understand that resources of Zambia must be enjoyed firstly by Zambians. How? We are a country that brags that we are a second or third largest exporter of copper in the region, and yet we don't even have 1 gram or 1 ton of. This is where we are now, where we've got young people who've got an understanding of the management or the running of the country. So I think in terms of I think you've got a crop of young people now who are willing to learn, and collaborate, learning from those that are there today. So we are not here to discard the old. We are not here to say we are going to just run the country as young people. No. We understand how much wisdom and knowledge comes with the old. Those that have got the experience and they've been around. But what do we bring to the table? What we bring to the table is patriotism. Patriotism to the core, because we have read, we have seen, and we have seen that at some point we lost it as a nation. Now we need to regain the energy in fighting for democracy, the zeal that our forefathers had. Now we're looking at a country that is so rich in terms of mineral wealth, but we can't point at anything, literally. And I think we should be getting, for me, I will actually give a challenge to the aspiring president here, that as young people, we need to ensure that we prove that we can be trusted, we show levels of integrity that are beyond. And I will tell you, Ma'am, that as a matter of fact,
in fact, I wanted you to pass the view to David Malomo. The policies now across the world is that we are losing young people to issues of drug, alcohol abuse, and other substance abuse. We are literally losing a generation. In Zambia, we have a generation of young people we are losing to drugs. We even have new terms called junkies. You know, their future is robbed by the abuses of these substances. And in many cases, again, they are abused by politicians who just want to use them as an artificial crowd. The policies should be, the young people should be in school or at work, or should be in entrepreneurship of some kind. They should not be idle, but they should either be in school, they should be working, or they should be empowered somewhere where they are doing their own activities. As young people, what is your view, and how should you encourage other young people to take a productive spaces in light of the challenges? Abalumendo n'abagashana takuwa benchito takuwa befya kuchita ishakwatendera mashakuntwala ku university. They have a litany of why they are where they are. What is your message?
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe just to ride on what my colleague said in response to the lady that called from Antarctica. First of all, I think most of the examples that we've given so far, we've given Captain Ibrahim Traore, as well as our first Republican president, President Kaunda. Somebody was saying, most people, all of us know anyway, the whole world, we're praising Captain Ibrahim Traore's leadership. Everyone is saying this is good. I think he's got 99% vote. Everyone has got confidence in Ibrahim Traore. And so it's unfortunate that he got power through a coup. And so somebody said, if Captain Ibrahim Traore stood in 2022, when he got power, he was just 34 years. If he stood in an election, the people of Burkina Faso would not have voted for him. They would have said a lot of things. They would have asked questions like, who are you? Where are you coming from? Who's your father? Do you have money? Do you have this? What have you done? They would have asked all those questions. And others would have told him, say, wait until 2090. That's when we'll allow you. But right now, everyone in Burkina Faso loves what Ibrahim Traore is doing. If there were elections in Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore would win. Over 90% of the popular vote. What's the issue? It's because they've seen the results. President Kaunda is the same thing.
Thank you, David. Let me bring in Dr. Nkoma. Dr. Nkoma, we lost you there. I think there was either power failure or internet failure, but glad you are back. As David was saying, young people in Africa are admiring the leadership of Ibrahim Traore and other young leaders in Africa. The Madagascar president, very young president. Senegal, very young president. What should young people do to overcome these many hurdles that stand in the way? Lack of money, lack of resources. Sometimes, just struggle for life is an issue, and it's difficult for them to penetrate in the leadership structure.
Yes, Ambassador, I'm so sorry. Yeah, there was a power failure on my side, and we had that little challenge. Nevertheless, I wanted to indicate on the same vein of the question that you have brought. The thing that most need to realize is governance. It's not just about passion that I want to be there. I want to be there. They need to have what we call contact. What is contact? What is contact? Contact is, are they familiar with the real challenges that the young people are facing? Are they also familiar with issues and matters of governance? That has to be well understood. The second one, they must have content. They must have content. When you look at Captain Ibrahim Traore, he's a soldier, but he has content. What is the content? He has a roadmap on how they would want to see Burkina move forward. But most of the young people today, mostly in my country, Zambia, you hear them say, no, we want to go into politics. Why? You understand? So that same approach of Naifwebe and Turieko, it's the same approach that the old guys are having. The old guys are saying, hey, we can't just jump the guns. We have to allow ourselves that we are well secured, we secure our families and so on and so forth. So passion alone cannot take you to war and win. So there is a lot of young people who are very passionate, but do they understand governance? That's number one. Then the second thing, the youths need to have determination. They need to have determination, and they need to know the youths of the KKs and the youths of today. The difference is that the youths of then had determination. They were true compatriots. They had this age to see themselves liberated. Now, most of the young people today, Ambassador, through you, to the nation, many young people want to go into politics because there are lack of jobs, because there are lack of contracts, because they have seen that politicians are passing jobs to each other. Now, in concluding on that matter, let me address the youths by saying, there is a Bemba word that they say, imiti kula empanga. Pachakwa asumchisenga tikuti ngombe ni matole, you know. So that simply means the youths have got power that if they say we can do this, they can do it for themselves. Unfortunately, many young people are cowards. I want to say this. Many young people are cowards. It's not about money. It's not about having all the experience. For example, the position of president, each president that comes into the office has never been there before. So the experience of governance, that day you are inaugurated. So you can govern because the country has a system. Why am I saying this? I want also to echo something towards the 2026 elections. The youths of Zambia have done incredibly well, commendably well in terms of changing of regimes. You are going to see that 1991, the team of FTJ and the team that went on to remove the UNIP government was full of energetic young people. President Chiluba was not yet up to 45. They were all young. I can move on. 2021. Remember, the young people woke up in the morning. It was the youths that removed the PF. Me, I always say this. It was the youths who woke up in graduation gowns and all that and queued up and said, we can change government. Now, they need to ask themselves a question and say, have the new government that we voted in, have they delivered?
Dr. Nkoma, just hold on for me. Just hold on for me. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, good evening, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba.
Good evening.
Zulu.
Mr. Zulu, make your contributions.
From Botswana.
Thank you.
Yes, please. My contribution is I want to ask and congratulate Council
Celestine
Mukandila.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've got a question for Council Celestine Mukandila. I've been watching what he has done today with the group or the team as youths. Congratulations, Celestine Mukandila. It's a good move. But my question is, Council, is there any law that you can also do to what you are doing to the president to impeach him? You also do it to the Speaker of the National Assembly. That's my question.
Thank you. Is there, Celestine, is there a question to impeach the speaker too? But let's take some more questions before I throw back the panel, and then we begin to wind down. To our dear callers, we're sorry we started late, but we are here. Let me just pick this call. Yes, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, Mwamba.
Yes,
from Livingston, yeah.
Bamwewa from Livingston, make your contribution.
Thank you so much. I'll touch on about 4 issues. The first one being voter education. The second one, the electoral processes. And then unit in the opposition, as well as the comments which these guys, the ruling party, are making concerning their stance on losing or winning next year's elections. Now, on voter education, Ambassador, we haven't done much, because when you look at the way we have left in terms of selection of a president, normally mostly the educated, they've really shunned away from politics, and now the people that are making decisions now are people who are maybe can be easily bought by money. So voter education, a person holding a voter's card must understand the power that is in that voter's card. can they trade it with a 500 kwacha? Because a voter's card, people must understand that a voter's card is the only tool that is remaining with the people. But now, are we teaching them on how to come up with a good leader? Are we teaching them on the importance of voting for the right person? So without voter education, we are going to be making the same mistakes year in, year out, because people would usually fall for a t-shirt or a kitenge or just some simple things. They would change their mind and vote for that particular person. And then we need to do more on voter education. And then also we need to educate the voter that it is their responsibility to guard that vote. It is their responsibility to protect that vote. Now, on the 6th of September, the mayor for Livingston, Madam Constance Mulebai, posted names on our Facebook page saying that these are the shortlisted people who are supposed to conduct the assistant voter registrations. Now, when you look at that list, some people have even commented on a page to say, where was the advert? When was it advertised? Now, you understand that a process is as important as the content. If you were not participating in the voter monitoring of votes, voter registrations, we don't even know how names are being shortlisted. We don't know all those things. You can even hear what these guys are saying, the UPND. What Swaniso was saying yesterday. Swaniso was saying that UPND losing power in 2026, it's criminal. Even in 2020, even in 2021, it's criminal. And also the president is on record where he said that 23 years in opposition, then if I come out of the seat, icon, bad than nephew. And when you hear them saying like that, they understand what they are talking about. It's because the process, they've mastered the process. Now, us in the opposition, we are still not yet even decided on who is going to be our leader. But these guys in the ruling party, they've already started the process of voter registrations. And the names are being advertised by the members of UPND, because the mayor is a member of UPND, meaning that UPND has got an upper hand in recruiting people who will be monitoring our votes. So we are still not yet even come to a conclusion of a leader. Now, I understand, I'm a youth as well, I understand that when the revolution comes, normally we don't, sometimes you can't even know who's coming to lead the country. But looking at the kind of politics which is there currently, Mwamba, we need an opponent who can stand up and challenge the current president. We want somebody who has experience, who understands, especially even in the governance of this country. If you recall very well, the issues of putting new people every 5 years, it has costed us, because anyone who comes through us will start learning whilst he's on that seat. So you find that for him to even understand the structures of the government, sometimes if it's unfortunate, you pick someone who has not even worked in government before. It's not easy to master everything. So this time around, there is a lot of mess in this country. And next year, we need at least somebody who has got some experience, especially in governance. For example, I can give a few individuals like yourself, Mr. Mwamba, Mr. Nakachinda, Mr. Ruvinda. Those, they've got a lot of experience. And just look at the way you are organizing people around the world. We need someone with experience. We need the youths, yes, but I think this time around, the candidates that we are fighting, is not that is not an easy candidate. Therefore, we need a very, very strong person to lead the opposition. About those few words, I really thank you. Thank you so much.
They are never few with you. Thank you very much. Let me call my guests, and I think we begin to wind down. We begin to wind down. Where is that phone that's ringing? There's a caller recalling. Just a minute. Hello, my brother. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller.
Hello, Honorable Mwamba.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yeah, this is Kapi. I'm calling you from the U.S., Chicago.
Oh, yes, Kapia from Chicago.
Yes, thank you so much. I've listened to the previous callers. I think Fionsofo Valera and I've got my points. I would also want to add my thought about our youths in Zambia. It's a very good development for the youths to take up the leadership of our country. But I have some concerns too. Like the first caller, what that lady from Atlanta alluded to. The government, our government now in Zambia, I will not just talk about the government. Ichalo, Honorable Mwamba nacho naiga sana terribly. Some youths, they want to take advantage of the current situation in Zambia to ride on that.
What's happening? Just a minute. Hello? Oh, I think the other caller got cut. Hello?
Yes, good evening, Your Excellency.
You've cut the other caller. What happened? Okay, quickly make your contribution, then I think I'll try to go back to the other caller.
Let me make my 2 points very fast, Your Excellency.
Yeah.
The first one, I want to look at Binwell and Antonio Mwanza. Let me first start with Binwell. The way he's coming, he started doing the Ichamache thing. He started in very well. But what I would want to put across the point is that let him continue organizing the youths in a progressive way. The most scaring thing is the statements that he made to say no, move away from Patriotic Front, move away from socialists, come and join each other. That is not the call for today. What we need to do is let's organize the people and govern them in one movement of opposition. Let's not start dividing each other. So in as much as Antonio Mwanza has come on board, I like his move. He's calling for organized youth moving together in one opposition party. So that should be also our brother Binwell's goal, to put the youth together in one movement.
Okay, thank you. Is there another? Thank you very much. Yes. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name's Mr. John P. calling from Chipata Eastern Province.
Yes, Mr. John P. Make your contribution.
I just wanted to add on what my friend from Lusaka has already contributed. I think I'll speak in Nyanja so that many people can understand, especially where I come from. Looking at what is happening on the ground, I think UPND knows that they have already lost. And the only chance they have to retain power next year is to rig the elections. Hence, the intimidations that they are uttering in each press briefing that they have. Just to repeat what my friend is just from contributing. What Liswaniso said yesterday is an indication that these people have failed. And they fear, they live in fear. They know that next year, 2026, youth will come together and defeat them. Another thing that I would love to contribute on behalf of my fellows, I'm a youth myself, is the lack of sponsorship. You know, we have youths that are intelligent, that are born leaders, better youths than the likes of Renaldo Swaniso Makandas. The youths that can lead, you know, Zambia better than what we are seeing now. But the only problem, the only challenge us youth have is sponsorship. Tilibe sponsorship, tilibe banga tandize. Mwana wazwangambira kudala kupaniyo kuti bapasirana chape tumipando bapasirana chape ndrama ma politicians bakuru sema youth tilibe paliponse painting angenere kuti you know.
Thank you, my brother. I think your point of empowerment has been heard. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us you are our last caller so that we can allow our guests to retire.
Yes, Honorable Mwamba. I don't know what happened to my call. It just cut as I was talking.
Yes, no, I'm so sorry. I think there were too numerous calls and there was a cross line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so a quick one. I was saying I've listened to all the previous callers. Once another Kwatama points. Number point you natural for Kulandene Honorable ni our country. Italona chonaika sana. And we appreciate the efforts youths are doing. Yeah, they want to be leaders. It's a very good development, a good move. But to me, I feel not at this time with all the happenings in Zambia. For example, recently, see what happened Kuunza. They were just given a 100 kwacha. That's the mentality of most of the Zambian youths, I would say. Looking at the happenings in our country, I wouldn't say this is the time for the youths to take up the leadership. They are there. Let me cite Benwa Mpondo. Yes, it's a good movement. To me, I see a lot of Muliko childish, Benwell. It might mean well, yes. But looking at the things, this is not the government. We can just come up as how I used to allow. No, we need experienced people, like Mwewa said. And the first caller, Mwala to convince our youth that you are going to do this for the country, you are going to save Mother Zambia. To me, I feel, let them learn. Not now. 2031, yes, we are going to stand up and put in the youth. Not now. It was going to be a good platform for the youth to take up the leadership. But with this government, I don't think it's the right time for Zambians to vote in the youth. This is the time to fight, to liberate our country. Zambia is really, really terrible. The situation is very bad, Mwamba. Yes, we've seen world leaders, that Burkina Faso president. Even here in the US, we are seeing the young ones coming up, yes. But look at what is happening in our country. Look at the type of a president we have. Look at his youths. Yesterday, I don't know if he's the chairperson for UPND. Look at him, the way he's coming out. All his followers, they'll follow him. What I'm saying, let us not split the votes. You are going to rule in 2031. This is my plea. Like I never experienced. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's Kapia from here in the United States. Now I'm being persuaded just to take this call. This gentleman says he's been trying and he's been trying and he's been trying. I'll just take him as the last caller. Let's see. Hello, caller. You are our last caller.
Oh, that makes me very lucky. I'm blessed. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for taking this call. I've enjoyed listening to the program today. And I think for me, what I just wanted to say, and
Who's calling?
Oh, sorry. My name is Robert.
You think the country knows you, huh? You should introduce yourself.
So you never know, Ambassador. You never know.
Wonderful.
So my name is Robert. I'm calling from Manchester. I think my call fits perfectly in terms of what the previous caller before me was saying. But though in terms of the young people taking over, maybe we might disagree on that. I think for me it's about the messaging, and I just want to urge whoever, and my brother there has put himself forward, is the message is about the second independence. Whoever is going to miss that message is not going to take our country where it's supposed to be. We need to move the whole country with us. And the message of second independence involves everything: culture. Who are we as Zambians? What is it that we have as a country? Because if we just move in there and without taking the people with us, the country is not going to move forward. So if you see, Trump's message was, let's make America great again. What that happens is it takes everyone on that mission. Even with the Brits, when they voted for taking back control, they called it Independence Day. Because what you need to do in our country, if you see the damage that Hakainde Hichilema'S done to our country, it's never happened. The country, everything is broken. And for you to do that kind of project, you need to move everyone with you. And you need to convince every Zambian, everyone on the streets, that we're fighting for the second independence. The first one we had was a colonial independence, and things worked a little bit, but now everything has been broken. And we have to reclaim our country, take stock, and if we have to shut down the mines for a few days, it might crash the economy for a few days, but we need to know exactly what we have as a country. And that's the only way you can, whoever wants to be the president, then they'll have the mandate when they go to investors or they try to negotiate deals. It will be there. They say the Zambians wanted this independence and this is what they want. If you miss that message, it's going to be the same thing over again, business as usual. And we're not going to get the development that we need. And even for the youths, because what people were expressing themselves there, that not being able to get the deals, this falls through in the independence. Why are other people not benefiting from the resources that our country has? If we don't get this message, believe you me, whoever wants to be president and they don't get this message that the country is not working and this is the second independence, then I don't think they deserve to be on the ballot paper.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. I'm trying to see if we can get Lusaka. Lusaka seems disconnected, so that we say our goodbyes. Hello, caller, as we begin to wind up. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, please say your piece quickly. We are about to wind up. I want to bring my guests to say their goodbyes.
Yes, Mr. Mwamba, Mbira ya Mushi here.
Kwa Mwembila ya Mushi, endesha niko endita.
Nakishadira kupana no kuri program. Ni ndesho kumitumina nombaila bako. Nalati mopusha ko fi panel. Nakula ndokutira cyano tushetu waluisha na maka yonse chapamo kutira tuturuke muri ubusha tukwete. So natotira sana kwa programs yonse napita mkwala.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I think let's bring our guests. I can see Lusaka is disconnected. They're trying very hard to. They are connected, but their camera is off. I want to bring them on. Doc, as we wind up, what are your last thoughts? Young people need to participate, but they're saying the state and crisis of our country require that young people do not go it alone, that they partner with their fellow leaders that are in the field, and together they emancipate our country. What are your reflections?
Yes, exactly. That's where I was going to land as well tonight. My call is that let the younger people and the older people have a contract. Before they get into elections time, it will be very important that these young people who are forming political parties everywhere must realize that politics is not leadership. You know, Ambassador, it's like this. You and I have got kids who have grown now. They are teens and others have grown up. You know, it's when your young son comes to at the age of 21 or 23 and says, I want to get married. Just because he feels the body is hot and he feels he can do it. He feels he can run a house, he can run a home. You who has been there, you will realize, Mwana wandi tekanya, let's first move here together. That is the reason why I was saying governance, you need to have both contact and content. What do I mean? I will refer to that several times because many leaders, they feel only when you have the contact with the people, then because you are popular, because they are celebrating, then you will be the best. That is the reason why we have people who are voted into power by the majority, and yet they fell. One day I was sitting down with blessed memories President Dr. Chiruba when he was out of power. While I was visiting him at his home in Several Road, he makes a statement. He says, a count of a president, according to our constitution, is 5 years. So that simply means that if a contract is 5 years, the issue of saying, let us get to 10 years, that does not, it's not what the constitution says. If the Zambian people are happy with you, they can give you the second contract, which is the second term. Now, in the case of Zambia, the ambassador, allow me to address these three things. The Zambian young people, as the youths, are they feel they are part of the governance system which they voted into power? In terms of jobs and job creation.
Doc, I'll bring you in. Doc, I'll bring you in. Let me bring Lusaka. You and I are broadcasting from home. My team is broadcasting from elsewhere. We need to let them go. You and I can chat and even take some more calls, but let's release the team from Lusaka. Let me start with David Malomo. David, the callers are saying, you wait. You have a great opportunity, but partner with your fellow elders and your fellow leaders in the field. Unite and band together, because the depth of the problems of the country require that you work together with the senior leaders. What is your view, David? And give us your concluding remarks. Then we move to Celestine.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. So for me, we need to begin again as a country. We need a fresh start. We need to begin again as a... What you learn, Ambassador, is that something has to be started to lay a foundation for further progress. In 1964, the young adults rose and said, again, we saw the young adults rising, I know, and they said, no, we need change, and they did it. Now it's our turn. Most of the challenges that we face as a country are new. The instruments by which we change, the plans on how to respond to these challenges, must be new. To some extent, even the people that should execute these plans must be new. For history, teaches us that if, for example, the same people, repeat, bring the same results. So the world is changing every day, and each day brings further evidence that as the young adults of this country, we cannot afford to resist this transition. We must lead it. We must respond to the threat of losing our country, commanded to our care by God, knowing that failure to do so would be betrayal to our future and the future generations. So what we need to do is to ensure that we rise with an agenda. What we bring on the table is substance. If you ask me, we had to sit down and make sure that there is a clearly defined agenda. So the first thing you meet me is ask to say, what do you have? What do you bring on the table? And I'll tell you there and then to say, we are bringing in a new system. That is the conversation opener. The moment you hear new system, you have to ask, what do you mean? And then I'll have to explain. That is substance. That is the politics that we need of substance. And to the population, what we're asking is, give us the ear. When you see a young adult rising up, and especially, such positions like the highest office in the country, what you need to do not demean them, do not discourage them. Talk to them, understand the table. Let us encourage people so that we have a different, narrative. What I'm getting from people is that, the youths of today are not serious, the youth of, but the serious youths as well. What they need is encouragement, maybe. What they need is to hear that there's somebody who would want to listen to what they bring on the table. Most of the presidents, studying the beginning of anything good in this whole world, you end up good in this whole world. You end up at youth every time. And I think it's worthy paying attention when a young adult rises up and they're on the oasis on the platform. I think it's worthy, paying attention to and really asking those questions instead of dismissing, the young adults. It will save if there is that ear that is paid, so that when they're giving that, the agenda, what they bring on the table is something that you debate based on that, not necessarily because of age. We should be debating based on ideas. So for me, we've come on board. We're sharing what we are bringing on the table. So it's up to the people of Zambia to see, to say this is something that is workable. The UPND has failed us. Every Zambian knows that UPND President Hakainde Hichilema has failed. Everyone knows. And so we should first understand that we're in a toxic relationship, we're in a toxic marriage, and as far as the current government is concerned. What do we do next is we need to change. Now, if we're to change, what are we going to do this time around? We need to sit down and analyze who are we putting in. Young adults, of course, everywhere they're making it. Everywhere we see a young president, you find that there's a successful story. So if a young adult comes on board, then let's listen to that person so that we see how we can do. So we've come on board. The people of Zambia, they feel they need to give us a vote in 2026. That is good, and that would be wonderful. If they feel it's 2031, it's very unfortunate if everyone admits, say things are not okay, so why should we wait for 2031? So it's just a matter of paying attention this time around. For me, that is what I feel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me go to Celestine. Celestine, the UPND are boasting that there is no opposition. They are saying, look, it would be criminal for them to lose elections in the next 20 years. You heard Gilbert Liswaniso boast. I don't know if it's President Hakainde Hichilema who votes in our country or it's Liswaniso who votes, but he says they will not lose power at all. How do you take such sentiments and the arrogance that you are saying? Is it because they are controlling parliament, the judiciary, the Electoral Commission of Zambia? Is it because we may not have a free and fair elections?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Ambassador. I think for me, my take is that the UPND sitting within a bubble of their own imagination. What they imagine is what they speak to, but they're not speaking to the realities on the ground. And the reality on the ground, the reality in this country called Zambia is that the Zambian people are actually the opposition to this government. The opposition to this government is the Zambian people. And historically, it must be noted, historically, Zambians have never really voted for for a leader or a president because of the love they have for them or because they feel this is the person they want to vote for. Zambia has voted out a leader. Look at 1991. Zambians actually voted out Kaunda. In 2000 Zambians actually voted out the Patriotic Front, the MMD. In 2021, Zambians actually voted out the PF. And this time around, the mood is very clear. Zambians are tired of this, the way they are feeling, the way they are coming out, the arrogance that they have. We've seen that movie before. And it is clear, Zambians actually know who they are going to vote out. The only thing remaining is for Zambians to be given or introduced to the leader that they will vote for in 2026. And that is where we are. So when I hear my comrade Liswaniso make such sentiments, I just say, okay, here comes another comedian. Because clearly, you'll find that the UPND appear to be in that circus. They have reached a level of arrogance that we've seen before, as a matter of fact. But, the Zambian people are the ones feeling the Zambian people are the ones feeling the fact that small businesses are dying because there is no electricity. Small businesses are dying because this country has not created a conducive environment for people to operate, small businesses to operate. Imagine the amount of taxes that have been imposed on small businesses. You will have payee on the other end, you'll have NAPSA, you'll have business levy, you'll have all these permits that you have to get. So the business environment is not good for small businesses. So the Zambian people have seen. Look at the amount of the Mumfumbwe massacre, for example. This is a president who entered into what he called a social contract with small-scale miners as well as artisanal miners. But what did he do? He went to Mumfumbwe and massacred youths out. And from a cabinet memoranda where they issued an instruction to get rid of small-scale, they called them illegal miners, but I don't want to call them that because I understand those are artisanal miners. Unless we want to get to a point where we are going to also start calling peasant farmers as illegal farmers. These are miners who actually contribute to the resource of this country, to the GDP of this country. Realistically speaking, the miners actually are the ones that are getting out all the profits out of the country. But look at where we are today. The realistic part is those that are mining, the small-scale miners, the artisanal miners, have got their expense in the country. So I think we have gotten to a point where, as a country, what we need is a serious leadership. As a country, what we need is a leadership that will be able to respect institutions of government. As a country, we need a leadership that will be able to believe that the rule of law must be able to not only be heard, but it must be seen to be respected. Just the mere fact that we have a constitution that has to guide whatever we do, it must be like that. So I think when we hear our colleagues, we actually remind them that the greatest opposition in this country is actually Zambian people. It's not these political players. It is the Zambian people that are feeling the pain of the high cost of living.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the team in Lusaka. Thank you, Celestine. And thank you to David. And thank you to the media team that is with you. Thank you very much for your participation on this leadership. And Celestine, you have an outstanding invitation. You're supposed to have come on your own. So I'm waiting for you. When you are ready, we can battle the wits of ideas. So to David and to you, Celestine, thank you very much. I'll remain with Dr. Nkoma as we begin to close the program. So God bless you, travel safely, but I've got a few minutes with Dr. Nkoma and we'll close the program.
2036 people kuliginga 2024 to 2041 manje pamene yamba manje politics kanikamba ndali hapa 2014 bwanji iyamba politics manje pavosafisa kama vantu volimba manje paja maybe tikakamikani oliginga.
This conversation we're having, you and I, is on record.
Yes.
And come next year, or maybe after next year, these videos will be played.
Yes.
You still believe and you still maintain that the UPND will be in power in the next 30 years, or I mean the next 10 years from now, or more than 10 years from now?
It's a criminal offense for UPN to lose power in 2026. It's a criminal offense to lose an election in 2031. It's a criminal offense for UPN to lose an election in 2036. It is a criminal offense for the UPN to lose an election in 2041. Would have done now for 21 years. You can't spend 23 years in opposition, then you lose an election.
In case you missed it.
You see this man behind me? This is Dr. Nevas Mwamba. He's a baby boomer. He's from the ancient world. He is living proof that the dinosaurs once walked the earth. In short, he's an old timer. And it has come to my attention that his generation is the problem with this country. His generation is the problem with this country. Have you noticed that we young people, we do not take part in tribal politics or tribal wars of any kind. We young people don't care which region one comes from and what tribe they are. But his generation is the one that is so obsessed on what tribe and what region, what province one is from. Okay? Because in his time, when he was my age, it was actually normal to judge people based on their tribe or their ethnicity.
You artisanal and small-scale miners, you need to know that we love you. This government loves you. This president loves you. Right? And there's no leader who loves his own family members who drive them into suicide every day. Then you are lying. You don't love your people.
Ambassador, you are mute. Ambassador, you are mute. You are mute, Ambassador. He can't hear me. Ambassador, you are mute. Ambassador, you are mute. Ambassador, you are mute. You, Excellency. Your Excellency, I think in your studio you are mute. You are still mute in your studio. You are mute, Ambassador. I know you. I can't hear you. Mute. Ambassador, mute as you were asking a question or you were giving a comment on the videos, but I can't hear your question. I could hear the videos, I couldn't hear your question. You have been mute. Okay, Ambassador, can you hear me?
Okay, Doc, can you hear me now?
Yes, now you are loud and clear.
Okay.
You had been mute.
Okay,
Your
please, I played those videos for you to understand, but now you can respond to them.
Yes, yes. I was laughing as the videos were going on, and the first one makes me
Doc, are you there? I guess maybe it's time to retire. I thought we could have a few minutes and then close the program properly, but now I have a connection problem with Doc. I have a connection problem with Doc. I think it's time for us to say our goodbye. Maybe we disturbed something when we're doing the disconnection from Lusaka. I don't know. With my system, okay. I think let me just look for Doc, then we close the program.
The biggest divide in our country is not left versus right. It's top versus bottom. Billionaires want us looking left and right at each other so that we're not looking up at them. The people at the top work so hard to keep us angry and divided because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. So their social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so that we don't notice that they're defunding our schools, gutting our healthcare, and cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It is the oldest strategy in the world, divide and conquer. But we will not be conquered. We're underdogs in this fight. We're going up against those billionaire mega donors and their puppet politicians. We're going up against a rigged system, and we're going up against a lot of money. But I'm a former middle school teacher. I don't scare easily. And Texans don't scare easily. My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. He taught me that we follow a barefoot rabbi who gave 2 commandments: love God and love neighbor. Because there is no love of God without love of neighbor. Every single person bears the image of the sacred. Every single person is holy. Not just my neighbors who look like me, or pray like me, or vote like me. Those billionaires are trying to keep us from seeing all that we have in common. They're trying to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because once we do, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. 2,000 years ago, when the powerful few rigged the system, that barefoot rabbi walked into the seat of power and flipped over the tables of injustice. To those who love this state, to those who love this country, to those who love our neighbors, the biggest divide in our country is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom. Billionaires want us looking left and right at each other so that we're not looking up at them. The people at the top work so hard to keep us angry and divided because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power. So their social media algorithms and their cable news networks tear us apart. They divide us by party, by race, by gender, by religion, so that we don't notice that they're defunding our schools, gutting our health care and cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It is the oldest strategy in the world: divide and conquer. But we will not be conquered. We're underdogs in this fight. We're going up against those billionaire mega donors and their puppet politicians. We're going up against a rigged system. And we're going up against a lot of money. But I'm a former middle school teacher. I don't scare easily. And Texans don't scare easily. My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. He taught me that we follow a barefoot rabbi who gave 2 commandments: love God and love neighbor. Because there is no love of God without love of neighbor. Every single person bears the image of the sacred. Every single person is holy. Not just my neighbors who look like me, or pray like me, or vote like me. Those billionaires are trying to keep us from seeing all that we have in common. They're trying to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because once we do, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. 2,000 years ago, when the powerful few rigged the system, that barefoot rabbi walked into the seat of power and flipped over the tables of injustice. To those who love this state, to those who love this country, to those who love our neighbors, it's time to start flipping tables.
Yes, indeed. Flip those tables. A sad event for you who are podcasters and follow youth issues. Charlie Kirk is a very influential youth activist here. He's a right-wing activist in the United States. He's literally supported the conservatives here, the Republicans, and is a Trump ally. He runs an organization called Turning Point USA, and he holds these discussions across universities. You know, he believes in the right of the family, the right of free expression at universities, and is a very strong voice among youths, conservative youths. So today I was holding a discussion, a sold-out discussion in Utah. I think Salt Lake, at a university in Utah, and was shot. You know, he's been unalived, and very sad for a young, very vibrant, you must have watched his, especially his TikTok videos. He's very popular on YouTube and on TikTok. You can check him out. May so rest in eternal peace. Where is my bishop? We close. Where are you? Where are you? He's still... Okay. Let me close. I think his internet or power failure, whatever has happened in Durban. Thank you very much for being with us. We have a set of leaders lined up, some from civil society, some from political parties that are lined up that will be coming. You have to look forward to the podcast coming with John Sangwa. I think as soon as he's ready, we must have him at his earliest time. I'm still waiting for Mama Dolly Kabanda with what has happened to the party that was supposed to adopt her as a presidential candidate. Maybe she's re-strategizing, but we have John Sangwa coming up, and I'll let you know when he's coming up. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for being with us. God bless you, and may the soul of Charlie Kirk rest in eternal peace. That's you cannot take someone's life because you don't agree with them, no matter how radical their ideas are. This is why we condemn President Hakainde Hichilema. all of us, all our offenses are speech related. What we said. Never stolen, never done anything, just what you said. Why should what I say offend you? That you give people seditious practices. In this case, you want to live Charlie Cake because he holds very strong views. Sad day for the United States and for America. God bless you, and we'll speak to you later.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyote kula kuibukisha kana depotimo wimbo wa temenu wa katongi abazunga batita katongi na kula kuibukisha kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko siove pamenso yangu maume baya kiyaba maume kiyaba maume kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove ale filamba yena minta pengosile eti kumemo kulondolo la vale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino dada wesu
katusi muchi mokege wali bomba kale lomba mwatu jatuleli lake ukula bebyo wachito bwingi ibisebo wapangiri obwingi ukuchinjo lusako kumoneko busaka mama kutituwa na basiyani chakwa katuse